What was I gonna say? Um. Oh yeah. Pain in the body, and this is like an energetic pain when it comes to. This isn't. I guess you could say this comes with awakening, but this isn't awakening. This is clearing. This is transmutation. And what my guru was talking about with this new moon that we just happened, and we're still in the new moon energy, is there's this ancestral fear, ancestral things tightly wound around our DNA. And it's like there's this deep energetic exhaustion going on right now. We have been in the shadow of exhaustion, and there's this energetic pain. From my personal experience, it's there's fear, right? And anxiety. And a lot of times the anxiety comes from like, whoa, what is this feeling in my body? Am I dying? Like, and it's your ancestors, I think is what it is. I wanna like doubt it and like say no, it's not the ancestors because I don't want to feel that. I don't want to see swords and this and be hacked up and pain and suffering. Nope, nope. But it's like you don't let your mind get attached to it. So you don't try to pick at it. You don't try to visualize it. You don't try to imagine your ancestors. You just go with the flow and you surrender, and sometimes you resist it. You know, if it feels really uncomfortable, fucking fight it a little bit, I guess. Just don't. It's really easy to keep your mind centered, actually, because if your mind spins off in some bad thing, it's like, whoa, that's really painful, and it gets really back to center really fast. So it's just about pushing through it and even fighting through it, you know? And it can be a lot on the body, and we have spirit guides that only allow us to feel what our bodies can handle, what we can handle, you know? Because if you released all this at once, your body would be in shock. You know, I was coming down from the mountain, from the canyon the other day, and like it was like I was seizing up. I was like, and I'm trying to drive, and like and feeling this anxiety and seeing. I think I saw me be born, unless it was my child for in the future. But like going through stuff in this lifetime of, I guess, painful experiences, painful things that I did to my body that I'm not too proud of. And yeah, it's just weird. It's kind of weird. And it's intense and sudden and like you just want it to stop. But it doesn't last forever. Oh, now as I'm talking about it, I'm kind of feeling it. Like I don't even like a lot of times I don't even want to talk about it. How scary and painful some of these energetic experiences are. So there is a point where you stop looking at it. You stop dwelling in the past. You know, like I've looked at things in my childhood and then I felt that and I felt myself gain that part of myself. Like I felt how I felt then. I felt myself. And I like gained that energy back. I gained that part of myself back, and it's like that's completion. You don't have to keep dwelling in the past. You don't. And the clearing never ends. So don't think that, oh, I have to clear all this stuff before I go out in the world or enter this relationship or do this or that. The clearing never ends because you're always progressing forward, right? And you're always experiencing things that you're always going to have to clear. So if you wait, then you'll get to a point where it's like, oh, well, now I'm clearing the past 2 years when I could have been experiencing what I wanted to experience instead of clearing the past 2 years and looking at all the things and having all the regret of me not doing the things I wanted to do. So I'm learning this lesson the hard way. I got to go out there now and experience what life is offering to me now. Not settling for the old Capricorn, like patriarchy, kind of Piscean age, institutionalized mindset. Institutions are fine, but that slavery kind of mindset and settling for less and getting into mundane pleasures and desires that aren't ultimately fulfilling and good for your health, that's what settling for less is. And it just gives a temporary relief. And drinking is a huge problem in the world in general, and it just keeps you kind of stuck in that rut. And that's what I've experienced personally in my own life and seen in others. But I mean, television's another good one. Television is like, because television is experiences of the world that, instead of out there actually experiencing these real experiences, you're just subjectively and vicariously experiencing them through a two-dimensional TV screen. And it's like, oh, but you're safe in your home, but you aren't fully experiencing life. You're just experiencing it through this little box. Cell phones too. Cell phones. And I think television and cell phones and social media are great. If we use these tools correctly, they can be great for our growth and great for our expansion. They can help us find those places we want to get to. But if we allow ourselves to get lost in the addiction and the mundane pleasure and desire of it, it can really keep us stuck in our cave. And there is a time and period to be in the cave. And it's like going back to the pain, not going back to it, but talking about it. Like, if you're experiencing a transformation in life's like, sit still, go through this shift, feel these feelings, process your emotions, process the ancestors or whatever it is, the energy. Don't get mentally dragged on it. Just love yourself through it. Eat healthy, drink some tea, go for walks. Spend time out in nature. Quit that job if right? Don't be afraid to quit a job if you need to quit a job, because life stepped in and I ended up getting fired from a few jobs. I couldn't hold a job because I couldn't go to work because of the energy. And plus I was like waking up at the time, and like there was one day I wanted to stay up all night and watch the eclipse, and I told my boss, like, I'm not going to go to work because it's the eclipse. This is like a rare thing, right? This is meaningful to me. This is more important than this job. Like, I'm not going to go to work. And I ended up getting fired, not necessarily over that, but or laid off or whatever. And it's like my needs ended up being met. And I lost weight. I started taking care of myself because those jobs were totally in the way of me taking care of myself. And prior to that, I was going to college at the time, or prior to that, I was going to college and working at the same time, which was double duty. College is super stressful. And like, if you're in your younger 20s, for most people in their younger 20s, you need to not go to college. You need to go through your 20s and dream. And college could be a part of dreaming. It could. So I'm not saying not go to college. So college could be a part of dreaming. But if college is in the way of you out in the world dreaming, especially from like 20... Well, when I started this, it was like 23. And I got out there and I started experiencing life. And I grew so much more than I ever did in college. And So if you're in your younger 20s or middle 20s, you need to not be in college. You need to be out in the world experiencing life. Then when you get your Saturn return when you're 28 to 30 years old, then you have a more solid idea of what you want to do for the next 30 years of your life. And then you go to college for what you are interested in. So I studied horticulture in college, and I still like kind of foresee gardening and plants as part of my future. But now at this point in my life, like, I want to study sound healing. I want to study spirituality and something in the healing arts, and I would love to get certified. So this is like, now I'm realizing, like, okay, this is what I want to go to college for. I don't want to go to college for being a horticulturist, because I studied horticulture. I didn't study permaculture. Like, I want to learn permaculture. I learned greenhouse management was my main thing that I learned, and it was all commercialized. And it wasn't organic, and it wasn't how I would ever run a greenhouse. So it's like, for the most part, that was kind of just a huge waste of time. And I was following what society wanted me to do, what my parents wanted me to do. And it's like, we're in changing times. So that's a good example of the age of Pisces, where I was kind of chained to the age of Pisces, but life stepped in and ultimately broke those chains for me. And I surrendered to it. And, some people, and it's like very third dimensional. Like, when you lose a job and you're in the third dimension and you're not a fifth dimensional thinker, it's like, oh my God, this is the end of the world. But for me, it was like, whoa, I can finally be in my creativity. I can finally be outside in nature and exercise and eat healthy and take care of all these things that this job just got in the way of. Because at the end of the day, it's like, oh, I'm tired. I just want to drink. I feel unsatisfied, and got in the way of me taking care of myself. So I'm not saying to not work, but I'm saying, like, when you enter a healing crisis and your job you start having a garage sale of your life, your job, your friends, your family, it's a gift from the divine. It's a gift from your higher self. And for me, I was not holding on to those friends and that environment and those things. I was just like, I'm done with this. Like, I went through a death process where I was walking around for like a few days, like, God, we're all dead. That sucked, right? But, like, you have to be mentally strong, right? Emotionally strong. And I made it through that. In that death process, after that, it was just like nirvana. It was the spaces within the spaces, and I entered samadhi. I really do believe that was the moment I entered samadhi, and this bliss started to increase, and this good feeling, like everything was perfect. Whatever samadhi is, to me, samadhi is like this blank space that you enter, and this flow of energy. Shiva Shakti. Cal Forever here. Thanks for listening. Oh yeah, I found this downstairs. And if you want to pause it and read that, if it's not too blurry. I actually didn't read the whole thing because it didn't seem like it really resonated with me, but the picture, the photo itself of Mary Magdalene and Jesus, like holding their hearts and offering you love. And check out this piece of oh shit, I almost dropped it. This piece of kyanite. Kyanite is great for Kundalini. Like, oh, I can really feel it. Cal Forever here. Show this. show it very well. And this is kind of my crystal grid. It keeps getting bumped and stuff. This is what is this? Oh yeah, and I have a crystal grid up here. And I think that's petrified wood right there. I don't know why I'm showing my crystals. I think this is petrified wood. I found this in Payson. That's probably worth some money. I think I showed these before. This is like a geode, I think. Some agates. Oh, and this is like to skin like animals. It's a native, like a native. It's not an arrowhead. I don't know what you would call it, but I found it while I was hiking, and I found these shells too. Shell fossils, and whoa, this has got good energy in it. And here's some coral fossil. That's pretty cool. Like, I want to go out there and find more. Cal Forever. Thanks for listening and paying attention to my story. I hope that it inspires you for the inspiration of all sentient beings. Peace.